We will have a nice Congress atmosphere as usual here all together, and in this excellent archery center. And our main aim to serve, as we all, our main aim to serve our great sport, very clear, for its better future. Of course, with your great contribution, as always. I declare to open our Congress, and I would like to invite our great friend, President of the Organizing Committee, Bruce Cull, for his welcoming speech. Bruce, please.
Welcome, everyone, and good morning. Welcome, President Dr. Erdner, Vice Presidents, Secretary General Dillon, Executive Board, Congress delegates, World Archery staff, guests and friends in archery, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee, USA Archery, the National Field Archery Foundation, the South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem, U.S. Senators John Thune and Mike Rounds, Congressman Dusty Johnson, I'm extremely proud and honored to welcome you all to the United States of America, the great state of South Dakota, and the beautiful city of Yankton for the World Archery 54th Congress. The situation the worldwide pandemic has presented has proven even more that determination, perseverance, loyalty, love and passion, camaraderie and vision of the great sport of archery, we have been able to host and bring archers from around the world together for an Olympic Games and now a historical event for World Archery in hosting Congress, the World Championship, the World Cup Final, all together in one location. And especially for the United States of America to host its first ever Archery World Cup Final. Again, I welcome everyone. Hope you have an enjoyable and successful and productive Congress, an enjoyable World Cup Championship, and a World Cup Final. Thank you all again, and I'm here to help you any way we can. Welcome again.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Bruce. Together with your team, you spent great effort for a nice preparation in this Congress hall. My friends, now we have a short video from the governor.
No, we don't.
We don't?
No.
Okay. I'll give the floor to Tom for a roll call.
Yes, thank you very much. Before we go to the roll call, no, we're going to go to the roll call, sorry. No, we have to explain certain things about the proxies before we go to the roll call. So first of all, we had some cancellation of registration after the deadline, 13 member associations. And there were various reasons. There was health issues, funding, COVID, and visas. Now, for the last reason, if there was a written proof of a rejected visa, we proposed to Congress to make an exception. Now, to make it very clear, it is not making an exception if the embassy was not opened in the country, as many teams have traveled for this reason to other countries, and therefore it would be unfair. They could have submitted the proxy if they knew that the travel to the embassy was not possible. So there is one case for where we ask Congress if you agree to give a proxy due to the rejection of the visa application, and that is for Peru, and that would then be a proxy to the Czech Republic. So can we have by a vote of raise of hands, so all those in favor to give a proxy from Peru to Czech Republic, please raise your hand. Okay. Anyone against? No. Any abstention? I don't see any abstention, so thank you very much. So we will give a proxy to Czech Republic from Peru. Okay. Then we will go to the actual roll call, and we will use a new electronic system. So you should all have been logged in by now. And I think most of the ones that are present are logged in. I see some still missing, so it could be that we have a challenge there. So I will start with the first one. So can we have, sorry, getting used to this new system. So the first country is Andorra, and there is also a proxy to Lithuania, correct? The second country is Austria, and there is a proxy from Luxembourg. Can we have on the screen? Do we have a confirmation of them on the screen? That's what I was told. Sorry, there was another thing. Sorry, I'm running ahead of schedule. So there was another thing. There is two proxies that two member associations had given. They have given both a registration and a proxy for the case they could not come. And they are not here. But they did not cancel the registration. And it's Nigeria to Costa Rica. And the second one is? No, only one? Okay, so it's Nigeria to Costa Rica. So we ask also there your approval that Costa Rica can represent Nigeria because they are not here, but they did not cancel the registration. So if you agree with that proxy, please raise your hand. All those in favor? Okay, anyone against? I don't see anyone. And any abstentions? No? Okay, so now we can start with the roll call correctly? Okay, thank you. So now you will see on the screen, when I call your country, please put yes on your tablet, and then when there is, you have a proxy also on the tablet of the proxy. So we'll start again. Andorra. Now we have it on the screen, that's why I was too early. And Lithuania. Okay, and you see it green, meaning they are present. Then we can go to the next one. Austria and Luxembourg. Okay, thank you. We go to the next one, Bangladesh and a proxy of Kuwait. Thank you. Then we have Bermuda and a proxy from Bahamas. Okay. Then we have Brazil and a proxy from Paraguay. Then we have Canada and a proxy from South Africa. Okay, Canada and South Africa. Okay. Then we have Chile and a proxy from Argentina. Proxy from Argentina, fine. Okay, then we have Colombia and a proxy from Barbados. Then we have Costa Rica. No, Costa Rica, I think. Yes. And we have the proxy from Nigeria, as we discussed just before. Then the next one we have is Cuba with a proxy from Malawi. We We have the next one, Czech Republic, with a proxy from Peru. Then we have the Dominican Republic with a proxy from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Dominican Republic. Seems to be a small issue with that one. Okay, we have to make sure. Okay, we can. Okay, so it seems to be okay. So St. Vincent and Grenadines as well, thank you. Ecuador and a proxy from Zimbabwe. Please confirm that you are here and as well for the proxy. Okay, Egypt and Mauritius. Okay, El Salvador and Honduras. Honduras proxy. Seems to be a small challenge there. If you can help, Roberto. Okay, we're getting that one solved. Thank you. We can go to the next one, which is Spain and Djibouti. Okay, Spain. Thank you. Then we have France and Guinea. Thank you. Faroe Islands. Faroe Islands. Thank you. Then we have Great Britain and a proxy from Australia. Thank you. Germany and a proxy from Kenya. Okay, thank you. Guatemala and a proxy from Uruguay. Okay, thank you. India and a proxy from Comoros. Thank you. Ireland and proxy from Lesotho. Iraq and a proxy from Syria. It's not here. Okay, then we can go to the next one. Iceland and a proxy from Finland. Virgin Islands, US, and proxy from British Virgin Islands. Thank you. Italy and proxy from People's Republic of China. So, Italy. Thank you. Grazie. Jordan and a proxy from Yemen. Thank you. Japan and a proxy from Myanmar. Thank you. Kazakhstan and a proxy from Turkmenistan. Thank you. Kyrgyzstan and a proxy from Tunisia. Thank you. Republic of Korea and a proxy from Nepal. Thank you. Saudi Arabia and a proxy from Libya. I don't think they are here, correct? Yeah, yes. Okay, thank you. Libya. We lost the screens. Libya, still. Thank you. Mexico proxy from Venezuela. Thank you. Mongolia proxy from Cameroon. Netherlands proxy from Belgium. Panama proxy from Guyana. Thank you. Philippines proxy from Vietnam. Thank you. Poland. Thank you. Puerto Rico proxy from St. Kitts and Nevis. Qatar. Thank you. Russian Federation and proxy from Belarus. Thank you. Rwanda is not present. Slovenia. Sudan. Thank you. Switzerland proxy from Namibia. Thank you. Slovakia proxy from Romania. Thank you. Sweden proxy from Norway. Thank you. Thailand proxy from Singapore. Chinese Taipei, proxy from Bhutan. Thank you. Turkey, proxy from Georgia. Thank you. United Arab Emirates, proxy from Morocco. Thank you. Uganda. Thank you. United States of America, proxy from Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you. Uzbekistan is not here. And if I'm not mistaken, that is the list we had to go through. So we have in total 98 member associations present, which has a cumulative 191 votes. As you know, since this Congress, we have certain countries have more than one vote, so the total number of votes we will vote is 191. If at any moment any of the countries that were not present will come, we will of course add them to the system. Is there any country here present that I did not mention? Should not be the case because registration is mandatory now. So, but I have to ask the question. No, doesn't seem to be the case. Then thank you. The roll call is finished.
And floor is yours again, Tom.
Okay, apologies for absence. We have received the following apologies. Our two honorary presidents, Francesco Necchi Ruscone and Jim Easton, as well as our honorary first vice president and chair of the electoral board, Paul Paulsen, but he will be available tomorrow if we need him for electoral board matters. Member associations, we have received apologies from the Islamic Republic of Iran, Ivory Coast, Denmark, Haiti, Solomon Islands, Sri Lanka, and Kuwait. And we have two executive board members that have sent their apologies. Vladimir Esheev, who unfortunately his wife tested positive and he's in quarantine, so he could not make it. And Li Sun from China, who is at the National Games, which are of course very important for China. So those are the apologies received. Did anybody receive any other apologies? That doesn't seem to be the case, so thank you very much for the apologies. Okay, then I'll move to so now we come to a moment that we remember the people that have passed away since the last Congress. So we remember Razi Shir Mohammadi from the Islamic Republic of Iran, a Paralympic medalist. Helen George, member of the World Archery Para Committee and chair of the Archery GB Disabilities Committee. Jean-Michel Piquet from Belgium, an international recurve archer. Charles Capici from Malawi, the vice president of the Malawi Archery Association. Viktor Mikalenko from Ukraine, coach from the Ukrainian team and sports administrator. Joy Hawks de Zuniga from Peru, international compound archer. Jean-Claude Lapostole from France, medical and sports science committee member. Per Erling Bolstad from Norway, former Norwegian Archery Federation President and World Archery Field Committee Chair. Margaret Mohan from Great Britain, Paralympic archer, and she lighted the torch for the ones that remember in London Paralympic Games. Peter Frost from Great Britain, an archer. Ed Martin from the United States of America, archer and USA Archery board member, and I think also president. Camel Bassett, Great Britain, Paralympic archer, bronze medalist. Jorge Eduardo Cabrera from Argentina, head coach on Argentinian team, Argentina Archery Federation vice president. Naka Yojitsugu from Japan, para archer from Japan. Hazik Kamarudin, 2 times Olympian from Malaysia. Simon Terry from Great Britain, double Olympic medalist. Pavel Fischer from Kazakhstan, an international archer. Raoul Theus from Belgium, former World Archery Vice President and a long-time coach. And for the next one, I'll give the floor to our President.
Thank you, Tom. My dear friends, I have to say something about Jack Rock, former IOC President. As the sports family, we lost a really great vision man who had a wonderful personality. Under his leadership, it was succeeded many projects in the IOC for having a better future. I think some of you know he was a well-experienced medical doctor and a successful surgeon. In his term, IOC Medical Commission show a great improvement, especially for preventing athletes' health from illness and injuries. He started some diploma programs for team physicians, physiotherapists, and nutritionists. We are still continuing this important activity. He continuously supported research activities in the IOC, and I was elected as an IOC member with his support in his term. He is now an unforgettable, great sport leader, and he will be living in our minds and hearts. Thank you very much, Tom.
Thank you, President. Steve Morley from Great Britain, Bebo archer and World Championship medalist. Trudy Medved from Austria, World Archery Executive Board member and Austrian Archery Federation president during many years. And Hoang Vinh Giang from Vietnam, Vietnam Archery Federation president and Vietnam Olympic Committee vice president. So we remember all these fantastic contributors to our sport and sport in general today, as well as other members of the archery family that passed away since the Congress in 's-Hertogenbosch. And we honor them now by a minute of silence. So please stand for a minute of silence. Thank you. I thank you. We now go to the appointment of the scrutineers. As you know, we are doing electronic voting. We have tested yesterday the system. The 2 scrutineers that we suggest to you is Rifat Shabouk from Spain, who is a non-voting delegate, and Yasuhiro Shiwaku from Japan, who is also a non-voting delegate. Does anybody have another proposal? Doesn't seem to be the case. Then I already thank the 2 gentlemen for their support. Now, can we have a vote by the raise of hands if you agree with them as the scrutineers? Please raise your hand. Thank you. Anyone against? No. Any abstention? Thank you very much. So I already thanked the two gentlemen for their hard work. Now you might wonder that we have two gentlemen. We try to do gender parity, but we also wanted to make sure that none of the actual scrutineers was involved from a country that has candidates. And unfortunately, we could not combine the two, so we preferred to have no conflict of interest in the actual voting. But we will do our best, of course, and in future to have a gender-balanced team of scrutineers. We will now go to the test of the voting system. So I'm sure our team has prepared an interesting test vote. They haven't told me yet. It will take a little bit longer. Okay, and so the question is, and of course, if you want to upset Bruce, you give the wrong answer. Is the NFAA Eastern Yankton Archery Center the biggest archery facility in the world? If you don't want to get in trouble with Bruce, you would say yes. I don't want to influence your vote. I just want to make sure that you stay safe. You can also say no, or if you don't want to risk your life by saying no, you can also abstain. So it's your choice. Okay, and the vote is open. So can I get any indication from the two scrutineers if the voting is happening and taking place without any issue? As far as I've seen, does anybody have an issue? If so, please raise your hand so that we can have our staff coming to help you. Okay, anyone has an issue? Can I get an indication if we can close the vote? There's still RGB still. It's okay? Anyone else has an issue? No? So we can close the vote and see who is in danger? We don't know. That's the problem. Of course, we see, we have 8 people that like to take risks. 167 yes, 12 abstentions, and 4 votes not cast. Okay. Good. Do we have a second test vote? Yes. Okay. That's to see if you read World Archery website. During Paralympic Games in Tokyo were broken more than 5 Paralympic records. Yes, no, or abstention. So the vote is open. Okay, does anybody have a problem? I see some, yes. Okay, Thomas, if you can give me an indication when the problem seems to be fixed. Okay, anyone else has an issue? No? Okay, yes, in the first row here? We are 97 out of 98. It's okay. So we can close the vote. One more issue here. Okay, sorry. Okay, so then we can close the vote. Now, of course, these were test votes, so it's not important, but of course, when we'll have the actual votes, we will ask everyone to stay seated and not to move around. And of course, if you need assistance, the staff will come to assist you, but will not be there when you press the actual vote, just to make it very clear as such. So we can close the second test vote, and we have 153 yes, 19 no, 19 abstentions. Matteo, how many records? 9 records, so there were definitely more than 5. And 1 world record as well, yes. Thank you. That's it for the test votes? Yes? We have one other. This is again for local culture. Is the bison present in the 2021 World Archery Championships logo here in Yankton? So who has seen the logo so far? Yes, no, abstention. So the vote is open. Okay, anyone has an issue? I don't see any hands.
Doesn't seem.
Okay, some votes are still missing. We're getting close to it. Yes. I think we can close the vote. Yes. And 110 yes, 63 no, 18 abstentions, 0 votes not cast. I think the logo is not seen yet by many, so we'll see. Okay, good. Then we go to the next point, and which affiliations, and I ask Siret to come to the rostrum, who will give all the information on the affiliations.
Hello, everybody. So I'm here to give a small overview of the members who have become our temporary members since last Congress, and will ask for your vote to become a full member of World Archery. We have 4 federations like this, from Bahrain, from St. Vincent and Grenadines, from Yemen, and from Jamaica. Each of these federations has a little bit different profile and background, and are in the different level of development of archery. So firstly, in Bahrain, we were very happy to welcome them, because they were one of the few federations who already said that when they wanted to join, that we have archers and we have foreign coach. So that's the good side of Bahrain Federation. The downside is that at the moment it's possible to do archery only in a military complex, and it's not possible for youth. So we have asked the Federation to address this matter as soon as possible. But at the moment they do have archers, and they do have the wish to participate internationally in near future. Then we have St. Vincent and Grenadines, who is more in a lower level development, just starting, and they are really in need of the know-how and equipment, and on that they are cooperating with World Archery Americas, but of course we had a lot of delays due to COVID. So I guess 2 years ago we were hoping they are already more further, but at the moment it's still quite in the beginning. Thirdly, Yemen Archery Association, a country that's not in an easy situation. However, they do have quite a number of archers and quite a number of fields. They have said that they lost one of their biggest fields due to the war, but they still have a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of interest among youth athletes, and they already had the first participation in the World Cup. So I think they are doing a very good job. We have some other applications received as well, but these are still a work in process. They are not yet temporary members, so not put on vote this time, but might be on the screen next time. So now we will conduct the vote for these 4 temporary members to become full members, and this vote will be done separately for each federation as they are in a different situation, and this will be done by the voting system.
Thank you, Sirit. So we will go now to the vote for the new members. Yes, there is a question?
Yes.
Sorry, we need the microphone over there, because otherwise we will.
Jamaica was skipped.
Jamaica, yes. Sirit, you missed Jamaica.
Yes, that's a good point. Thank you very much. So with them, it's more similar to the St. Vincent and Grenadines, so they are still in the very beginning. However, they do have a small group who has already been doing archery. It was previously together with the Shooting Federation, and now is with the wish of the NOC to have separate federation for shooting and archery. They are really starting with the Archery Federation at the moment, and their goal is to have a membership which would allow to also have Jamaican archers who live abroad representing the country.
Thank you very much. So now we can go to the voting as soon as Sirit is back at her desk, and we can switch the screens. Okay, so can we have the first vote, which then should be Bahrain? Can we have the vote opened? Put it on the screen, please. Okay, so we will vote on the acceptance of Bahrain Shooting Association as full member of World Archery. If you agree, you vote yes. If you don't agree, you vote no. And if you want to abstain, it is 3. So the vote is open. Does anybody have a problem? There is an issue with... No? It's okay? Okay. There's an issue with Egypt. Any other issue? It's okay. Anybody has an issue to vote? If not, we will declare the vote closed. Okay, you can close the vote. Vote is closed. And you have accepted Bahrain as a member of World Archery. Congratulations. Then we can go, thank you. Then we can go to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So I will open the vote. Does anybody have an issue? Doesn't seem to be the case. Then I'm going to close the vote. Thank you. And we welcome St. Vincent and the Grenadines as member of World Archery. Congratulations. Then we go to the next one, which is Yemen. So, do you accept the Yemen Archery Association as a full member of World Archery? The vote is open. There is an issue over there, okay. Okay, anyone else has an issue? I think should be okay, so we can close the vote. And we accept Yemen as a full member of World Archery. Congratulations. Then we can go to the last one, and that's Jamaica. So I will open the vote for Jamaica. Anyone has an issue? No? Okay. Getting close to the maximum. Good. Can we close the vote? Yes. Close the vote, please. And we accept Jamaica as a full member of World Archery. Congratulations. We will then have another report from Sirit on the governance and activities of our member associations.
So to make a better decision what to do with the federations, then just to remind what was decided in the last Congress. So last time we had Central African Federation and Senegal, who should have already received the expulsion from the last Congress. But the Congress gave an extension to until next Congress to improve. And then last time, final warnings were issued to Ghana, Kuwait, Mali, Norfolk Islands, Rwanda, and Togo. And these 8 that are on the screen right now, as today, the most problematic ones from those still remain Togo and Senegal. With Central African Federation, we have seen improvements, and with the others, they received the final warning last time because they hadn't paid the membership fee, and this time, all 5 from that list have paid on time for this Congress, but Togo has not paid. However, Togo's situation is that they ended up in a situation where they had 2 parallel archery national federations, which isn't allowed according to our rules. And there was a little bit complicated situation with the NOC or ministry recognizing different ones. So at the moment, they are in the process of trying to join these 2 federations, and after that, the payment of the membership fee would be possible. But it will be, of course, up to you what to decide about their future. So at the moment, the situation is that the membership fee is not paid by the following countries, and they are marked as not in good standing. So Congo, Laos, Lebanon, Madagascar, Korea, TPR, Korea, Senegal, Suriname, and Togo. And regards those ones, there is also a couple of federations where it has been just very difficult to get the membership fee payment, although we do know that they have archers. For example, Laos has been participating in the Asian Championships as well before. It's just at the moment they have tried to make a credit card payment and this hasn't came true. So they are not in good standing, but we know that they have archers. However, the 3 bottom ones in that list, Senegal, Suriname, and Togo, these ones have had governance issues. With Senegal, we would like to see a lot more development. And with Suriname, it has been almost impossible to even get any reply from that federation. And at the moment, suspended is currently 1 federation. That was a conditional suspension because they didn't have any elections or General Assembly. And we suspended them with the executive board suspended with the condition that they need to hold the General Assembly. It was held last year in December. We had virtually an observer attending this meeting. However, the minutes or any documentation regards this meeting was never sent until 9 minutes ago when I received it on my mailbox. So in this situation, we know that there has been COVID, and it's definitely hitting harder the federations that are smaller, and there needs to be a decision what to do with these federations. And yesterday, the executive board discussed it, and their proposal was this time to propose to issue 1 final warning for them. But the Congress would have the right to expel these federations if you feel that would be necessary. So the proposal is to issue warnings to these federations, but if there are any other proposals, we can discuss those ones.
Okay, maybe can I ask perhaps Sergio Font to take the floor on the matter of Suriname, because I think this is a special case as well. So Sergio, in his capacity as Archery America Secretary General, can we give him a microphone at the end of the room? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is it on? Good morning. Yes, Tom. Suriname has been inactive for many years. We have never received any replies to our emails, I would say, for maybe more than 6 years now. And they owe the affiliation fee to World Archery for 2020 and 2021. We have done our best to get them to respond to our emails, but it has been impossible. We don't know of any archery activity in Suriname. So World Archery Americas would suggest that they be I don't know if the word is expelled or maybe that their affiliation is stopped at this moment.
Thank you. So what I suggest, if you agree, is that we first have a vote on the warnings that Siret explained to you, and then we have an additional vote on the expulsion of Suriname. I know this was not foreseen in the voting script, but let's first do the warning in one block for the final warning, and then we will have an additional vote for the expulsion of Suriname.
Expulsion, final warning as options, or just expulsion, yes and no?
Okay, so we will first, as soon as we have the screen ready, the opening of the vote for the warnings, and we want to be very clear, they have to have activity before the 2023 Congress. If not, they will be expelled as well. So the vote is open for the final warning to the countries listed, and then for what concerns Tonga, we will look if the minutes are correct, and maybe we will be in a position to lift their suspension. So the vote is open. Okay, does anybody have an issue with the vote? No, then we can close the vote. Okay, so we will give a final warning to these countries concerned. Then are we ready for the vote on Suriname? Not yet. Give us a little bit of a second because it was... Okay, so expulsion of Suriname from World Archery. The vote can be opened. Anybody has an issue? Doesn't seem to be the case, then we can... No? Okay, we can close the vote. And so Suriname is expelled, and we hope that this will push them to start an activity again, if at all possible, as such. And we will inform them as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. My friends, now we will move on agenda items 7 and 8 together. Floor is yours again, Tom.
Thank you, President. The first thing is the approval of the minutes. And we ask you to approve the minutes of the 29th Congress. And since we know many of you have jet lag, we're going to do it by a raise of hands. So any questions on the minutes of 2019 that have been circulated as such? That doesn't seem to be the case. So can we have all those in favor to approve the minutes of the 2019 Congress? Please raise your hand. Thank you. Anyone against? Any abstentions? That doesn't seem to be the case, so approved unanimously. Matters arising from the minutes, there was just one thing related to target phases that was discussed by the target committee. Now, this is very much linked on what we will discuss in our motions later on today, so there is no need to go into any further matters there. For the rest, there were no tabled matters as such. Then we also have to confirm the reapproval, because apparently there was one country missing from the list of delegates. So we ask you to reapprove the minutes of the Congress of 2017, and that the correction was made that Guyana had a proxy to Trinidad and Tobago, and that was missing in the list of delegates in the appendix. So any questions on that? No, and we thank Archery Americas for having drawn our attention to that matter. And so we can have a raise of hands, all those in favor for approving this correction. Okay, thank you very much. Anyone against? No. Anyone abstaining? No. Thank you for approving this correction.
Thank you, Tom. My friends, now we will move on agenda item 9, reports. First reports belongs to me. I will take the floor. Dear Archery family members, my dear friends, it is a great pleasure for me to see and be with you again at this 54th World Archery Congress here. I welcome you all to the Eastern Yankton Archery Center and wish you all best of health. You know, during the last Congress, we introduced some limitations on terms in our new good governance system, so this will be my last term. Again, as you know, the change we made were related to improve World Archery's governance. I consider them as an important and defining step in our institutional restructuring. My friends, I remember the situation in 2005 when archery's place in the Olympic program was in jeopardy. My resolve was to do new things and do it differently if we wanted archery to continue as a core Olympic sport. English naturalist Charles Darwin concluded, "It is not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the one most adaptable to change." There was and still is an increasing demand for good governance standards, transparency, accountability, in short, democracy for all international sports organizations. From my initial 10-point program to Dynamic Archery World Plan, or World Archery Plan, we gained a lot of ground in that direction during our journey from FITA to World Archery today. We place credibility central to our corporate identity. Today, the corporate reputation of World Archery is at its highest. We have reinforced archery's position as one of the core Olympic sports and move up in the IOC Olympic revenue distribution categories. The global appeal of archery is on the rise, and our family has grown to 166 member associations. What did that together and the unique features of our great sport, which we have highlighted, took care of the rest. We achieved the main goals of the Archery World Plan. We innovated, evolved, and developed. We made many accomplishments, like TV-friendly match and set system, bringing more excitement to the competition and, of course, for TV audiences. We all agree that archery today is more appealing to the media and viewers. Creation of successful World Cup series made the sport more popular and attractive to spectators and raised its profile and reach. Our sport development efforts, creation of the Foundation for International Archery Development, resulting with the World Archery Excellence Center, a great project which only a very few international federations possess. Introduction of the sponsorship program, progress made in marketing and broadcasting, with the mixed team format aiming at 50% gender balance. In any case, we have always. Medal events increased from 4 to 5 in the Olympic program, and with innovative introduction of live biometric data like heart rate on broadcasts. Archery's TV and social media broadcasts have hit record high in Tokyo. Having mentioned the Olympic Games, I have to open a parenthesis here and say a few words on the COVID-19 pandemic, which affected almost everything, including the Olympic Games. After an inevitable postponement for a year, Tokyo 2020 Olympic and Paralympic Games were held successfully in a very difficult period. With only a 0.02% positive cases in over 600,000 PCR tests in Tokyo. Tokyo Games were perfectly in line with President Bach's safe and secure games for all participants promise. It will be the same will go for 2024 Paris, 2028 Los Angeles, and 2032 Brisbane Games. During the pandemic, like some other IFs, we had important support from the IOC and Swiss Confederation, for which I am grateful. World archery activities also were adversely affected by the pandemic. We were forced to cancel or postpone some international competitions. We had to conduct almost all our meetings virtually. Luckily, we are together here in nice Yankton, and even today. Many members are using Proxy for the first time, so that very close to 100 federations will be represented here. We had to update and extend our vision and mission statements to guide post-pandemic planning for a better future for world archery. All in all, dear friends, we managed to adapt to new challenges and made good use of the opportunities they presented. This was possible thanks to 3 elements: your support, prevailing unity and harmony within the administration, and our dedicated professional staff, orchestrated by our Secretary General, Tom Dillon. Thank you, Tom. Thank you also for maintaining excellent relations with international sports organizations like the IOC, WADA, IPC, and ASOIF. Of course, some additional ones: World Games, Master Games, FISU, so on. My thanks and appreciations to our dedicated staff: Sret Luik, Caroline Murat, Matteo Pisani, Genevieve Brugger, Severin Darius, Cecilia Visara Moser, Thomas Obert, Cecilia Tossetti, Chris Wells, Ludivine Maitre, Vicky, Juvenal Masso, Jeff Kirschman. Our event staff: Andrea Gabardi, Özü Lujan, Sebastian Flüt, Alessandra Pandolfi, Amy Barnaby. Our regional development officers: Sergio Font, Halit Sofiane Lamende, Kushla Matheson. Our communication staff: Dean Alberga, Andrea Vasquez, Anthony Kishi, John Stanley. Our result team, Christian Dilligan. TV team, Danny Fullerton. TV commentators, Kerim Bashir and Nikki Hunt. Speakers, Mark Chavez, Crispin Duena, Andreas Lorenz, George Tekmikov. Last but not least, Uğur Korkmaz and his team at the Ankara office. My special thanks go to Juan Carlos Holgado, Director of World Archery Excellence Center, for his great contributions at the planning and construction of the center. He will be leaving in October. I wish him all the best in his new important position at FISO. My best wishes and thanks to Pascal Colmer for serving us for many years. Thank you, Chris Marsh, for our top-level events, and I wish him the best in his position at the IOC Sports Department. Dear friends, despite the economic situation created by the pandemic, we continue to increase our sponsorship income. I would also like to thank all our sponsors. They are our very important and vital partners for the sustainability of our activities. So thank you, our official sponsors, Hyundai, Sport Auto, Area, Turkish Airlines, Longines, official providers, Archery, Analytica, and New Vision Logistics, Diamond Partners, Easton, Phoenix, Hoyt, PSE, Archery, Gold Associate, Danaj, Reinhardt, Tarets, Viavis, JVD Distribution, and our 16 Red and Blue associates. My heartfelt thanks to my colleagues at the Executive Board, Mario Scarcella, Sangwan Kosafinta, Maria Emma Gaviria, Jörg Brokamp, Greg Easton, Aladdin Gabr, Vladimir Eshiev, Eva Tezen, Jean-Michel Claro, Kotaro Hata, Zeng Liksun, Naomi Folkart, Mark Miller, and of course Tom Dillon. I thank our permanent and ad hoc committee members for their great work. And of course, all together, we thank our friend Bruce Call and his team for this excellent preparation and organization. And finally, you, my dear friends, I'm grateful for your confidence and support. It was really important for all of us. My sincere thanks and respects to you all. Within all these wonderful people, I have no doubt that a better future awaits our great sport. Thank you very much. Now, thank you very much again. Tom, floor is yours again, related to Secretary General's report.
Yes, but before we go to my report, we should have our connection. Yes, we have the IOC Sports Director in Lausanne on the line. So I hope the sound is working fine. And I give the floor to Kit McConnell to address our Congress. Kit, you have the floor. We don't have the sound yet. Sorry, Kit. 1 second. Okay, we're trying to get this technical issue fixed. So it was clear that Kit could hear me, but we couldn't hear him, so we're trying to get it fixed ASAP, and I'll give a signal to Kit when we can start. Kit, can you give an indication if you can hear me and try to speak? No, we still don't hear you. 1 second, we're trying.
How's that? Can you hear me now, Tom?
Now we can hear you. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. There we go. The technology works. That's good to hear. So thank you very much, Tom, for the welcome. And of course, President Erdner, our dear friend. Thank you so much for the opportunity to join you today. And I hope the Congress has started well. Professor Erdner, President Erdner, thank you so much for your leadership of the Archery family, which we look forward to continuing, and congratulating you on an extension to that leadership already tomorrow, but equally as your role as an IOC member, former IOC Vice President, the chair of the IOC Medical and Scientific Commission, leadership roles in anti-doping with WADA and the ITA, and so many other leadership roles across the Olympic movement. It's a great pleasure to be joining you, and let me acknowledge you in front of your national federations for your leading role, not only in archery, but right across the whole Olympic movement. And equally to you, Tom, and the rest of the World Archery Administration. Yes, we took Chris away from you, who's here with me in the room, but we know you've got a great team there, and we really appreciate the partnership that you have with us and across the Olympic movement as well. And of course, to all of the national federations, it's great to join you today, even virtually, and as always, look forward to the chance to see more of you physically as soon as we can through COVID. It's only a few weeks since Tokyo 2020 has finished, these incredible games that we had in Tokyo, the first ever postponed Olympic Games, the first ever delivered in a global pandemic, and ultimately a unique, safe, secure, and hugely successful games with a very clear focus on sport and the athletes the whole way through. There were games that were an inspiration to the entire world, and hopefully you felt that wherever you may have been. So to World Archery, to the Archery family, to all of you for the work that you've done to add to that success, to contribute towards the preparations and the delivery. A huge thanks from the whole IOC for that. We know the games, so we know the pandemic themselves had a huge impact on world sport that continues to be felt in a lot of ways. The pathway for archery, like all sports, was very challenging on the way to Tokyo. Archery was not exempt in any way from this challenge. We had athletes unable to train, facilities closed, real challenges traveling internationally, flights reduced, and many events cancelled or rescheduled or adapted. This was the reality of sport that we all felt over the 18 months building up to Tokyo 2020. You lost the Archery World Cup Tour. We had the world rankings paused. We had to adjust the qualification system to make sure the athletes had the opportunities to qualify on multiple occasions. All of these things we did together to try and support you through the challenges that you were facing in archery. Equally, we know the continental qualification events were impacted, and in particular thanks to Guatemala, Antalya, and at the end towards the final qualifications in Paris, for the flexibility that all of you showed to allow the athletes to compete on the field of play and seize those qualification opportunities on the field of play as well. So it was a tough road, but ultimately an incredibly successful games. It was a games without spectators, obviously in attendance, but by no means did that diminish the connection and the impact of these games around the world. With the new technologies, with the digital innovations we had, more sports fans than ever around the world engaged with archery, with your athletes, and with the games as a whole. We had more than double the numbers of users across our digital platforms compared to Rio 2016. The official website attracted over 2 million global visitors during the time of the games. The social media posts referring to the Olympics generated 3.7 billion engagements in the course of this year, including through the games periods. And now we have over 75 million social media followers across the Olympic platforms. And this isn't limited just to the overall games. We saw the impact in archery as well, where the incredible triple Olympic champion Ann Sun from Korea, with her Instagram feed in the hours following the third gold medal, had over 500,000 engagements and likes in just the space of an hour following the third gold medal. And this really shows the impact that the games had around the world and the power of sport and the special inspiration that these games in particular brought to sport and brought to the whole world. When we look on the field of play, archery again was a great success. We had over 50 NOCs represented, and 9 of those on the podium. We saw an encouraging spread of medals across Asia, Europe, and the Americas, and the incredible opening day of competition with 3 Olympic records set on the very first day. And of course, Ann Sun becoming the first athlete from Korea to win more than 2 gold medals, the 3 she won. It was the first out of any sport in the history of Korean Olympic participation. And of course, with no bias to your president, Turkey achieving its first medal in archery, and that being a gold medal as well in the men's individual. Archery has continued to progress, and we saw this in Tokyo as well. Over recent games in London, in Rio, you've done a great job in continuing the innovation in competition formats, competition schedules, continuing to reach out to new audiences while keeping the credibility and the essence of the sport. And this is the great balance that always needs to be found, and we've seen so successful in your Olympic competitions. The sport presentation continued to increase, to reach out to those audiences, even though they weren't in the venue. You could feel this through the broadcast of the competition, and the introduction of the new biometric heartbeat for the TVs was a great success and had really strong feedback from our rights holders around the world. And as your president referenced in his opening address, the additional medal with the mixed team for us was a great success as well. We're sure for you, but equally for the IOC, it was a real success. We were delighted to see that. In fact, it was there that the IOC president and myself saw archery, and it was great to see that mixed team event and the final event there. For us, it's really important, not only as an additional medal, but really the embodiment of gender equality, to have men and women competing as one team on the same field of play, in the same competition, in truly equal conditions. It's really an embodiment of gender equality. So congratulations for making that a real success on its Olympic debut as well. So in summary, a difficult pathway, but a hugely successful games in Tokyo, safe, secure, and reaching out to new audiences around the world. And this was not the IOC by any means acting in isolation. This was built on the incredible work that World Archery did to address those challenges on the pathway towards Tokyo, and the work that every single one of you as national federations did and continues to do as we now shift our focus to Paris at your national level with your elite archers, but also across all levels of the sport in your country. And we'd like to thank each and every one of you for that great contribution towards the collective success of the games, where again, we had the focus on sport and on your athletes. And as we look towards Paris, it's a short turnaround. We're now less than 3 years out from the games. We start qualification in a number of sports in just 9 months from now, which will in turn be only 2 years before those games. And here again, we'll be looking for World Archery to be heavily involved in all of the planning, all of the operations, using that incredible skill and experience that now exists within the Federation. This will reach out to new generations, reflecting the vision of Paris 2024, using technology, using digital media, as we did in Tokyo, but really reaching out to new audiences, not only in France, but around the world as well, and reaching out to new generations to engage them in sport and in physical activity more generally. So again, Professor Erdner, President Erdner, Tom, to you and the team, thank you so much to all of the national federations. A huge gratitude from the IOC for everyone's contribution towards these incredible games we had in Tokyo. We now look forward to shifting that focus quickly towards Paris, and of course sharing that journey with you as real partners and supporting you in any way we can. So thank you very much for the chance to join you today, and I hope you have a great Congress, and we look forward to congratulating you tomorrow evening our time and continuing the journey with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Kit. Thank you very much for joining us from the Olympic House, very far away. Thank you for your speech and information about many different things, very briefly. It was also very important for us, for my colleagues. Thank you very much for your kind words about me, about our World Archery, about our activities. They are really very, very important, very vital for us, because you, as a very dynamic, very active, as a hard worker, director, you always keep very close cooperation and partnership with not only with us, with all Olympic IFs plus recognized IFs as usual, and your great effort is always very, very important for having a great success during the Olympic Games. This is also another very important thing. I'm sure as a very dynamic director of the IOC, you are always ready for if we have some questions and comments, my friends. If you have some questions, now this is a good opportunity for asking them or making some comments. Probably they don't want to take your time, Kit. They think you are always busy çünkü because Tom, maybe you can ask a question.
Well, I wouldn't ask a question. I just want to thank also on behalf of our staff and of all the people that were in Tokyo very much Kit and Chris as well for the enormous work that was done and for, I would say, the fantastic cooperation we had. It was not easy. I'm kind of missing the daily tests, I must say. Waking up and then trying to fill a testing tube. But it was a fantastic journey. And okay, the one in Paris is very short. I know we're working with Chris already on the qualification systems, on putting the event delivery model in place. So we really look forward to Paris. We will have a presentation from Paris tomorrow, which will give also information to our members on Paris. But we really thank again the IOC also for the help that they gave us in the difficult COVID period, because without that we would have been in a very difficult position. So we thank you very much, Kit, and then also finance department and the entire IOC for all the work they have been doing. So with that, is there anyone who dares to ask a question? No, then we can wish a well-deserved weekend to Kit. Thank you very much for joining, and it was a pleasure seeing you, President.
Thank you so much, and good luck with the rest of the Congress. Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Tom.
Kit.
Take care.
Thank you.
Now, floor is yours again for your report, Tom.
Dear Congress delegates, Mr. President, it's a pleasure to give an update on my written report, which you already received some weeks ago. So first of all, my written report was sent to you in July, which was pre-games. So there are certain things that I will mention that were projects that are not completed. Unfortunately, we had some challenges in terms of time and staffing, which I will come back to. We had the Olympic Games in Tokyo, as I think everyone knows, the Paralympic Games in Tokyo. We had some changes in staff, and I will give you also an update on the event side. So before I do that, well, let's first of all see what has happened since 's-Hertogenbosch, and I will show you a short video. Wow, we're getting the video ready. There we are. That gave you a good overview of what has happened since Hertogenbosch. And thanks to Gwen and Chris for making this very nice video for us. So we go back to my report. So some of the projects that are still in progress, we have started a governance review of continental associations, and we will send you a report as well as to our continental associations in December of this year. Unfortunately, with the very busy summer, we run out of time and our continents run out of time as well. So we will do this by the end of the year. One decision that has been taken yesterday by the executive board is that for what concerns World Archery Africa, there is a deadline to have their Congress at the end of 2021, even if most likely it will be virtual, as has been done virtual by most of the other continents due to COVID over the last year. In terms of the questionnaire on activity and governance of all our member associations, this is also a project that has had some delay. We want to make it as easy as possible for all of you. So we will use our extranet and we will not ask for information we already have. The thing is, with things like that, it is difficult to do it in a way that is easy to understand and as simple as possible. We don't want to, I would say, keep too much of your time activated to filling in questionnaires, so we want to make it in a way that is productive for all of you. We are also working with our event department on new world ranking list procedures and calculation, and we hope that by autumn next year we will have a final review of that. Olympic gold medalists, well, I think everyone knows them by now. I would like to thank a Spanish enthusiastic artist that made these fantastic cartoons that were very much appreciated by everyone during the games, and it also helped with some of the figures in terms of social media. So they look very nice, and I thank again the Spanish artist that helped us doing these cartoons. Some facts of the Olympics in general. These are facts given by the IOC. There were 19 days of competition. We had 5 archery events out of 339. We had in total 11,259 athlete entries, 128 athletes in archery. And well, we are 50-50 in terms of our athletes. IOC getting more and more close to it, 48% female, 52% male. There were 2,401 medals presented, 93 NOCs won medals, which is a record. And we had 205 National Olympic Committees. DPR Korea was the one missing. And the IOC Refugee Olympic Team, and we'll come back to that in a moment as well. In terms of Olympic solidarity, as you know, is very important in the development of all sports. We had 836 Olympic solidarity scholarships across all sports. They participated in 12 sports. They won 27 gold, 32 silver, and 42 bronze medals, and 164 diplomas. There were many, 63 women and 80 men, selected as flag bearers for the NOC at the opening ceremony. We had several one also in archery. And if we look at archery, we had 36 scholarships in archery, 14 women, 22 men. So we need to do an effort there to have more women for the next cycle. 13 participated. So that's 36%. That's not enough. 58% if we look at it from an NOC level, because in certain cases, the NOC selected someone else in the end. That's something that happens. But we should have much higher percentage. And this is something we will, from our side, be more strict when there is proposals to see if they can really qualify or not. So we will be much stricter in the confirming when there is an application. But we also should encourage some of, I would say, the federations that think, wow, what's the point in putting forward this athlete or that athlete, because we are already a developed nation. Don't hesitate. Olympic solidarity is there not only for the smallest nations, it's there for all NOCs as such. But what happened with the ones that did go? Well, we have an Olympic champion, and this is the first time ever that we have an Olympic solidarity scholarship holder winning an Olympic gold, which is, of course, Mete Gazos from Turkey. We also had 3 Olympic diplomas, 2 from Turkey with the mixed team with their 4th position, And GBR also had one scholarship holder as such, who was in the top 8 and had the Olympic diploma. There was for archery $500,000 invested by Olympic Solidarity in the scholarship holders. So 1 medal, 500,000, is this a good investment? My guess is yes, but we need to do better, and we will work together to do better for Paris. In terms of TV broadcast, I'm not going to go back to what Kit McConnell already said. There were record audiences. The broadcasting are enjoying much higher share of viewing than the typical average viewing. We also see a lot of people watching on the IOC's own platforms. There was the first time that the IOC website was the organizing committee website. So this was a new approach. Also for the Paralympics, this was the same website. So we will see the impact of that. And an interesting thing is that female athletes have generated the most conversation on social media. Kit McConnell mentioned Anne from Korea. So this is very positive step forward as such. And female athletes drove 50% more engagement than male athletes led sports. So this is led posts. So this is a very encouraging thing to see. In terms of the Olympic Games and participation, we had less NOCs participating. And this was for a very good reason. We had a more balanced participation from men and women. If you look at Rio, in Rio we would have had 22 mixed teams. In Tokyo we had 29 mixed teams. So there has been more investment in women's sport in archery, and this is very positive. If we look at the continental representation on the chart, you see that in terms of membership, which is the blue one, and if you then see the orange, which is Rio, and then the gray, which is Tokyo, it's very similar. The participation is very much linked to the membership across the continents. And as also said by Kit McConnell, we had 9 NOCs with medals. Of course, we would like to have more, but this is as it is, and we will work with all of you to make that even a higher number in the future. In social media and World Archery, we see over the last few years, this is from 2016 to 2021, we see clearly a growth, and we've doubled since 2016. Our 2 biggest platforms are still YouTube and Facebook, but Instagram is growing and growing since 2016 as well. In terms of additional growth of users, these are the Olympic Games and Paralympic Games figures. And you see the first peak is clearly the Olympic Games. The second peak is the Youth Championships, and the Youth Championships are very important for social media. And then the last, the Paralympic Games are not very visible on this chart because the Olympics puts it so high. So this is for the Olympic Games. We had 38 million total engagements. Twitter, 1 million. It's not a big one, but it is a very active group. And we had 8.5% engagement rate, which is quite good in comparison with other sports. This is a chart. This was made by an independent company, and it shows the performance of World Archery in terms of the social media. In terms of video views, we were among the first quarter. In terms of activity, interaction, and contacts, we are in the second quarter. So we keep on being a very high-performing sport on social media. So this is very good news. These are the first figures and only figures we have so far from the Olympics because it was only a few weeks ago. We're expecting the TV figures and then all the other figures in the coming month. Paralympic gold medalists, we did the same as for the Paralympics. We also had the same drawings, and also again many thanks on that because it gave them the feeling of recognition that they also deserve. For Paralympics, we had 42 NPCs, so that's 2 more than in Rio. And we had 10 NPCs with medals. And what was fantastic was, for instance, we were in the Americas. We will have the next Pan American Games in Chile. Chile participated for the first time in the Paralympic Games and won a silver medal. This is great for the development of para-archery in the Americas, but also IPC was very clear to me, we have to show development in the Americas for parasport if we want to stay on the program of the Pan American Games. But I'm sure with that medal, the motivation will be higher even in the Americas region as such. And we also had a very good surprise. Zara Nemati not only won her third successive gold medal in the Paralympics. Zara Nemati, as you know, was the flag bearer of Iran for the Rio Olympic Games. She was this time the flag bearer of the Paralympic Games for Iran, and she was elected to the Athletes Committee, which is called Paralympic Athletes Council of IPC, and was honored with her colleagues in the closing ceremony as such. So congratulations to Zara for this election, and we are hoping that she can contribute very much in this new position. In terms of our broadcast, we are changing the way we are broadcasting, and this is a little bit linked to what happened during the pandemic. And I'll explain you a little bit more on this. We have moved away from doing streaming first. And this is something some people might have a hard time understanding, but it's important to know that there is a change of approach as such. Our approach is evolving from an archery-oriented focus, audience focus, to a wider audience focus. Away from streaming and towards making more events accessible via television, internet, wherever, which is the direction of the TV and media industry. Over the past few years, we moved away from going with our same team to every event towards using local crews. This is important because it means many more TV professionals are coming into contact with the sport and know what archery is about. So it is much better to talk with the journalists, for instance, during the Olympic Games from TV broadcasters. We also have much more broadcast deals than ever before and more people seeing archery as such. And the cost of an hour of broadcast is getting lower and lower as well. As you can see, in 2018, the cost per hour was around 16,000 Swiss franc. In 2021, it will be around 7,500, and in 2022, our goal is to be around 7,000. But people involved with the sport broadcasting, in 2018 were 25, we should be getting close to 500. So it's a different approach, and we know it's not always easy for organizing committees to understand what is happening and why we are doing it. But this is what it's all about. So we have really a promotional pyramid for our TV production. And we worked in the past mainly on World Championships and World Cups, but the pivotal piece of the puzzle is the World Ranking events. And we want to stress this because there is more of them. That's why we are changed a little bit. We don't want to replicate the level of the larger events. We don't expect a full broadcast setup for World Ranking events. We want to see how they fit together in the event ecosystem. And a 1 hour live is much better than having 2 days of coverage. And I know the focus has been in the past on streaming. It is not the way you reach people. So, the World Ranking events, we have started asking more to our World Ranking event organizers. This is coming out of the pandemic, but it is our biggest area of opportunity. We know it's not easy, and we need to do more to make this transition more fluid. But thanks to all the ones that have worked with us so far, it has proven that this is the right way forward, and it is the right direction. It is really important that we get to a level so archers and the public know what a World Ranking event means, and it is a certain quality with availability for television, photos. It takes organization and a little bit of investment, but World Archery investing the same amount for each event, and the staff are here to help. So this is a process, but the benefits are there for everyone. Increased exposure, growth of the sport, and more sponsorship interest. Okay, in terms of staffing, and I don't expect you to be able to read this slide. Your eyes are not getting worse, don't worry, okay? This shows the staff as it was in 2019, and this is the staff as in 2021. You might notice that there is people that have disappeared. We have lost quite some staff during the pandemic. Some have left to other organizations. Someone is leaving in a few days. So we have to change the way we are doing things. Our board approved already earlier this year a different concept. We will have basically general management, which will be handled by myself. We'll have an administration component, a member services component, events and marketing and communication. And you might ask yourself, where's development? Well, development is part of every department. This is a new approach that we want to see how it works, but we feel quite positive about it, and the feedback, for instance, from the IOC has been very positive. So, in terms of staff matters, we will have for sure new job opportunities coming up in education and development. Also in the center, as you know, we have Juan Carlos Ogaro leaving in a few weeks, 5 days, and we will see how this will all fit together. At the moment, I want to be very clear, until the end of the year there will be no hiring. I'm acting director of the center as of the 1st of October. But I also assure you I don't want to do that the rest of my life. So we will have to find a solution, but I've been interviewing all of the staff at the center to make sure that I understand what they are doing, what is working, what is not working, and based on that we will come up with a plan that I will present to the foundation board to see how we go forward in the future. And there will be for sure more synergy between the center and our office at the Maison du Sport International, especially in terms of finances, in terms of HR, and we will have to see how it also fits with the member services. If we're doing events in the center, of course, there will be also a clear cooperation with the center as such. In terms of the ad hoc committees, the current ones continue, Classified Gender Equity Remuneration Committee. We had 2 ad hoc committees that were dissolved, and I would like to thank the people that were involved in them. The Continental Games ad hoc committee, because we have now archery in all 5 Continental Games. So the purpose of that committee was to get them in the Continental Games. Since we are there, we didn't need that committee. However, we have started to do regular phone calls with all 5 Continental associations, which is very helpful to share and to create synergy between the 5 continents. The strategy and governance, and I thank the chair, Vicente, for the work he did in this ad hoc committee. And this is taken over by the staff. Sirit and Cecilia are working hard on the governance matters of the member associations, and we're all working in the office on the strategy. So this is taken over by the staff now. Now, 2 ad hoc committees that we will create in the near future is Masters and Sustainability. So if you have anyone interested in either topic, please inform us by the 15th of October, and then we can, in the next executive board, add people to these 2 ad hoc committees. We yesterday had an executive board meeting, and we have 8 bylaws that were approved. They will be effective, as we probably will decide this afternoon, the same date as the motions and proposals you will approve this afternoon. There is a new concept for para-archery. There will be doubles, so no longer the 3 men or 3 women team, but there will be doubles, so 2 men or 2 women. Of course, the mixed team continues as well. And the idea is to really give a push to the development of women para-archery, to have more female representation in para-archery, because where we are at 50-50 in the Olympic Games, in the Paralympic Games, we still have some work to do. And together with the para committee, we have a plan in place that by 2028, by the Los Angeles Paralympic Games, we will be 50-50 for the Paralympics as well. We have, in relation to judge accreditation, there was first of all, a measure approved that we will not expect in the current accreditation period the judges to attend a judge conference because of COVID. We couldn't organize the judge conferences, so it would be a very unfair way of doing the accreditation. So together with the judge committee, we decided that the current system is being put on hold in terms of attending the judge conferences. That doesn't mean there is no case studies. There might be tests online and so on, but the attending of the conference is put on hold in this accreditation period. The other thing is that there has been an adoption made of a change to the youth judge system. The youth judges, as you might remember, were created because of the Youth Olympic Games, and we in the past were accepting people that were athletes at international youth competitions to go to the step of becoming a youth judge. But because we're also changing the fact that a youth judge in the future, when he finishes the age limit, will be considered the same as a continental judge and can become international judge candidate, we have to make a change there, and so there is a new way and there's a clear pathway for those youth judges to become international judge candidate and then afterwards international judge. This makes it very clear in the way forward for those youth judges and should give a new dynamism to this pathway for judges. There's been some other clarifications, but all of those will be published as such in the coming days, as soon as we have the time to make the minutes of the meeting, which will be very, very soon. Then I think all of you received, or most of you received, an email from Mustafa Safan and Ahmed Rushdie. So during the executive board, we reviewed in the absence of Mr. Aladdin Gaber, the message from allegedly Mr. Mustafa Safan, the former administrative director of the Egyptian Archery Federation. A further message was also received from Mr. Ahmed Rushdie last night. The executive board has decided to forward the matter to the Board of Justice and Ethics for investigation and will not comment further on the matter. In consultation with the electoral board, we would like to clarify to Congress that this does not in any way put in question the eligibility of Mr. Gaber to stand for election tomorrow. I think this is very clear, and I will not make any further comment on this matter at this stage. Events. We had the World Archery Youth Championships in Wrocław in August. We had to go to Wrocław because Wrocław, I should know how to pronounce it now. We had to move there because originally it was allocated to Australia, but as you know, Australia is still having very big issues in terms of traveling. So we are very grateful to Joseph and his team who are here in this room for organizing this event in 4 months. And the feedback we've had was very positive. We had 56 member associations, 522 participants. 15 of the member associations won medals, and we had 55% men and 45% women. So very happy with the participation. We know not everyone could attend. It was sad as such, but this is a part of, I would say, the current environment we have. We started the World Games qualifiers. The World Games will take place not so far from here next year. The 2 Paralympic compound champions have qualified. We had the European Target Archery Championships in Antalya already qualified some. We had European Field Championships, which was also open to non-Europeans for the qualification. And we will have these championships next week. Will be a major factor for the compound qualifications. We will have continental qualifiers in the Americas, in Medellin. Africa, we still need to know what is happening on that one. The same for Oceania. And Asia, I'm waiting for information as well from World Archery Asia for that qualifier. For what concerns the Indoor World Series, we will have for 21-22 2 major events, Nîmes and Las Vegas. The challenge for sport, as we all know, is mass participation events. With the rules in place, it is very difficult. Testing, social distance, and all of those things. it is not easy to use to do mass participation events. So the other organizers have not decided, have decided not to take up the challenge to organize the events, but Nîmes and Las Vegas have. And we want to take the best part of what we were already doing in the online Indoor World Series and have an open ranking with additional events. However, we will no longer have the, I would say, the individual athlete registering because from a human resource point of view, during the lockdown, this was possible. In a normal running environment, this is not possible, and I will get shot by my staff if we even think of it. Okay, so no, we will only do registered events, and we will produce more details as soon as the staff has informed me that it's possible as such. The World Games I've already mentioned. Then the Gymnasiad is a very, I would say, important event for school kids, and it's so important that next year they will have it twice. And tomorrow we will have Rifat giving more information on that. But the 2022 event will take place in 2022 as scheduled, but the 2020 event is also taking place in 2022. So there's no reason why you cannot go to either of them. And actually compound will be added, which is good. And there will be also an under 15 in Brazil in 2023. We're still discussing with ISF if archery could be included. But Rifat will tomorrow, when we talk about cooperation with ISF, give more information. Then, next thing, Paris. Paris is, this photo was taken in Lausanne last week, Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. We're getting close to 1,000 days to Paris, so it is very, very short. One of the things that was mentioned by Kit McConnell as well is the refugee program. We had a very successful refugee program in shooting in our center. They were training 3 refugee athletes, of which 2 competed in Tokyo for shooting. It's a little bit strange that we have in our center, an archery center, a refugee program for shooting, and we don't have one for archery. So we want to work with the IOC to have at least 1 man and 1 woman from refugees competing in archery in Paris. Now, the details I can't give today, but if you have any interest or you're aware of any refugee program involving archery in your country, please contact CIRET as soon as possible, because then we can see how we can integrate it in the program. We are working with Nico Campriani, who was the one who did the shooting program in our center. He's working for the IOC and he's helping us to make it happen. And we already have some people that have shown interest in helping us with this, but we want to go ahead with this program as soon as possible because we have only a few years left. There will be 2 aspects. There will be a kind of archery development program for the long term, and there will be a high performance program, which will be a little bit more tricky because there is only 3 years to the games in Paris. Okay, this was it for my report. Are there any questions? No?
This means
Yes?
your report. Is there any questions or comments? I don't see. This means your report was very satisfied for our friends. Thank you very much, Tom, for your report. My friends, now we can have a coffee break for 15 minutes. But sharp.
Yes, so we will be back at 10 past 11 in this room, and the coffee break is in the entrance where you came through, and please enjoy the coffee break.
including finance as whole block.
Thank you, President. So before we go into the finances, we will talk about the foundation and more specifically about the World Archery Excellence Center. So we're asking Juan Carlos Holgado to come to the stage so he can present an updated report on the center. And then after the end of his report, I will talk about the finances of the center as well and about the finances of the foundation. So Juan Carlos, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. So dear President, dear board members, dear delegates, dear friends, dear colleagues from World Archery, it's a pleasure for me to be here again after 2 years, crazy years, to talk about the World Archery Excellence Center and give you an overview of what we have been doing these 2 years. So let's start because I've been asked to be brief, not get too much time, so I will go straight to the point. Good. The World Archery Center is a facility with the indoor-outdoor areas. And first of all, let me recognize and thank the people, the companies, the partners, sponsors who make this possible. First of all, of course, World Archery, the Eastern Foundation, the City of Lausanne, the Canton de Vaud, the Fond du Sport de Vaudois, Sport Toto, and Hyundai and Longines. So thank you to them. We have this amazing center which has been kept me busy for the last 6 years. So we have the Eastern Hall, which is the building. We have 2 areas with the Sport Hall, which is 4,800 square meters. And then we have the first floor where we have the fitness, the restaurant, all the facilities, meeting rooms. I think the technology oh, here we go. Good. Showers, sauna, hydromassage, and our administration offices. And then we have the outdoor field, the Sport Toto outdoor field, 5,000 square meters where we make all the outdoor events from competition to corporate events or any activities outdoor. And what we have new this year is a facility, the outdoor shooting gallery, which is a structure what we have closed in the outdoor field that allow us to use the outdoor area. The rest of the year that is cold, and believe it or not, Switzerland has 5 or 6 months that are quite cold, with snow in the center. We have an average of 2 or 3 months of snow in the area we are in, Chalet d'Agobé. So it was a waste of space. We are running out of space in the hall, so that was a great solution to start using the outdoor field when the weather is not so good. So you see the facility that we have adapted also for our wheelchair archers with a platform. We have a space for 16 archers and has been possible thanks to the support of the Eastern Foundation and the Fondation de Port Vaudois. After starting the center, we were very focused in what we are going to do. We were very focused at the beginning to make it happen, to get the finances right, to build it, and then what to do. We spent 3 or 4 years running activities and finding out what could work, what is the business model, and what the center should be doing. And in this time, we define our vision, which is making the center a facility that allows everybody to make the Olympic sport of archery the activity of choice, which I think sounds familiar with the vision of World Archery. Our mission is to become a sustainable hub for archery development and excellence by hosting and organizing activities for beginners, current athletes, both amateur or professionals, coaches, judges, and officials. Therefore, our goals are to be a source of reference to development and education of archery regionally and worldwide, to develop a financially sustainable business and operational model to ensure the proper development of the center mission and its long term, to organize and deliver activities, events, and services to the highest standards, reaching levels of excellence, to contribute actively to the growth of archery at any level, beginners, advanced, or elite, to assist in the improvement of the equipment used for the practice of archery, to support other sport or other social activities locally. The activities we run in the center has 2 main groups. The first one are the institutional programs. Is what is the core or what is the mission of our foundation, Work for Archery. And there we have activities archery members their weekly training, and private coaching of archers and coaches at any level. Performance archery services we provide to archers, to clubs, regional federation, national federation, the World Archery Academy, which is a new project we have started. Archers, talented archers who train on a daily basis can come from 1 month to 3 months to follow a high-performance program and try to become better. And we have a great example with 2 Danish archers who came before the Youth World Championship. One of them became the silver medalist after being 7 weeks with us, which makes us very proud and was also a great promotional tool, because right now we have 8 requests of all the athletes coming. But I think it's one of the programs that could be very successful because there are not many places that an archer can go to get a training in a full-time, like a resident program. The other one we have started recently is the Swiss Archers High Performance Program. It's a resident program aimed to help the Swiss archers to train on a daily basis in the center, trying to reach the level that right now they are not allowed to reach, or they cannot reach because of the lack of support, let's say, or hours of training. The archery were archery coaches courses, level 1, 2, 3. Unfortunately, they could not be happened last year because COVID. We received a lot of requests from you. I used to pass it to Siret. She's taking care of it. So any request of coaches courses, please go to her. But I think very soon we will start again having courses. Our para-archery adaptive course, seminars of any kind for coaches. And then we have courses of judges, which again has been stopped for a while, but I hope will recover soon. And our workshop on seminars that is to help coaches and archers to improve. We organize competition, our Hyundai Archery Challenge, outdoor, indoor, and 70 meters indoor. We have host events for clubs, for the local clubs. And we have done some international events. One of them was the World Cup, which Tom reported before. Another one was the Swiss National Championship. When they lost the organizer, we hosted and was the first Swiss National Championship with live TV on the finals, which was a great legacy and a great good for the development of sport in Switzerland. We hosted the Olympic Society Scholarship of 3 athletes. 2 of them went to Tokyo, and we hope and look for getting more for the next period. We had started a new project, which is the Archers Coaches Continuing Education. It's a program who help coaches, young coaches, who would like to make archery as a living, work professionally as a coach, to come and come at University of Archery. So we have one present here, Luka, from Slovenia. They stay 3 months with us. It's heavily supported by Olympic Solidarity, and we give them the knowledge, theory, practical. They work for us. They grow with us. We show them different high-performance centers like in Italy or in Germany, and they have a better understanding how they can work in archery professionally. And we developed by COVID a new service, which was the home training tips. When COVID started and we all were at home, we had hundreds of people asking how I could practice. So we decided with the staff and the center to create a system, tips to train online, and we created a tool with videos, and it became so successful that very soon we had many volunteers offering to translate in several languages. So we have it now in 6 languages, and it's still nowadays a tool that people use for improve when they have no possibility of a coach or they practice at home. The second big group is the commercial activities, and it's the one that we try to make revenue, and it's the one that sustains the budget of the center, where we have corporate events, with most of the time with archery included, archery birthday parties, kids camp, and the renting of space for different sports like Judo or like Colo Atelier de Lausanne, the school that is close to us with 2,000 students. The Make a Mark project, the refugee project that Tom mentioned, a very successful project that started by the center helping the project. We were one of the sponsors and became a profitable activity. Got so much support that in fact they are renting the space, and it's an activity that we are not also helping, but also is giving us a great image in front of the IOC, in front of the community in Lausanne and Canton Vaud, and brought a success to having 2 of the 3 of the shooters going to the games. We rent spaces for the physiotherapist master school, for the floorball or uni hockey, and recently the Swiss Basket National Center They were supposed to create a basketball center in Ecole Hotelier. They are still under construction, and they asked us for support, so we're happy to support them for several months until the hall is finished. So now as you can see, we have a basketball court in our center. Thai boxing classes. At the end of the day, there are some spaces not used, and we have a school of Thai boxing that also gives us some revenue. Rollerblade Artistic Kids School on the weekends, and a cyclist youth team that is coming weekends to practice in the space available. The team I'm leaving for a few more days is myself. Lee is in charge of events. Charlotte Marquis is my commercial person. She's making sure that we are selling our services. Kyung Soo, our head coach. Raymond, and second coach. Corinne is administration coordinator. Abdul taking care of maintenance, and now our current coach level 1 and 2. He came into the sport, learned how to coach, and is giving classes already. Karim is taking care that I behave financially. Ana Mendoza is in charge of cleaning and keeping the center clean and tidy. And Liliana is new, and Daniel Cocker new. Liliana take care of the webmaster communication, and Daniel for all what is the sport archery activities. Okay, so that's the team that we still have now. They are quite busy, and very soon I think they will be a bit more busier, but I'm very confident that they can run the activities because it's really a dream team. And on top of it, we have 25 instructors. We call them when we need them, freelancers, which used to get 1 or 2 times a year re-education or meeting, but with the COVID, we could not do it. So we will start it next year again to meet them more often and try to keep them with the same philosophy of how we educate archery in the center, okay? So what's happened with the COVID pandemic and how did it affect us? We were 2 months completely closed, which was sad. Seeing a facility like this empty was quite tough. 7 months, we were limited in age of the users or in the level of the archer could come. There was a moment that only national team archers could come and the rest not, or in the number of participants, or in the space to be used. 5 months, progressively, we could increase activities, and the last 2 months, more or less, we are back to normal. And I say more or less because we have introduced last week the COVID pass, which has created also some interesting issues. What more affect us in the finances? Of course, with having the center closed without being able to make groups activities, the 90% of income of the commercial activities was gone. That was negative. The decrease of maintenance operation cost was not as bad or as high as we expected, only 20%. So that was not good news. The government support with a partial unemployment program to the salaries of the staff at 80%, which was good news. The government also support with some funds to sport association, and our center was considered as a center to be helped, and they give us some funds for compensate a bit our loss of activity, which was more or less the 40%. Was, let's say, good news. Our sponsor partners continue with the support and agreed to continue even during the COVID period, which was really good news. And the loss on income in renting from the World Archery spaces and the kitchen, because we had a restaurant, also was a bad news, was decreasing. Of course, we have extra expenses, as you all know, with the gel, with the flows, with the machines, with the thermometer, mask that was never budgeted and was quite a lot of impact. So a new COVID area budget is needed, and when we are trying to do it, the problem is it's so uncertain that it's a challenge. The other impact is in people using, in the members. We lost only 4 annual members, was not mad, and all our clients keep going. And what was very good was the image and reputation of the center with how fast we reacted to the situation and how we were following the rules, which was good for us. Okay? Since October 2016, and I don't bother you with too much statistic, we had 38,000 people trying the sport in our sport, and we hosted more than 650 different events and corporate events. So what's the value of the World Archery Center for archery, its members and archery? And it's time for reflection. Or it is worth the cost and investment done so far. It is sustainable in a long term. Or should the current business model and strategy change to fit World Archery goals and vision? And there's something that the opportunity now with the COVID has given us to reevaluate what should be the center and where we should go. And one thing that is very difficult to value each time is how much is the image of our sport or archery has improved in the Olympic capital with the IOC, and with most of the families of the IOC staff came to the center for any activity from birthday party to kids camp or IF, International Federation. And this has a value, and it's something that probably has to be valued one day, how much we have improved our image in Lausanne, in the Olympic capital. So what is next? It's time to review the strategy, and it's time to adapt to the current situation, to the World Archery vision and its finances. It is time to define what World Archery wants the World Archery Excellence Center to be in 5 or 10 years. And it is time to see what could be improved, how we could do things better, more efficient, and in benefit for World Archery and its members. And this is the time for questions. Any question is more than welcome. Good. So, thank you very much for your attention, and I would like to thank all of you for the trust received. And if the president allows me 1 more minute, I would like to thank a few people. Thank you very much. The first of all is Jim Easton and his family and Greg they brought me in FITA, something I could never believe, and allow me to give the opportunity to give back to the sport what the sport has given to me. Second, of course, our president, my general, my doctor, my professor, my leader, Professor Dr. Erdener. Thank you very much for your leadership for all these years. It has been an honor, a pleasure to learn with you and work for you. Next one is Tom. Thank you, Tom, for allowing me to be who I am, to do the things as I want to do it, and for supporting me in all the projects I had it. So it has been nice to work with you, and thank you, and looking forward for a new relation from my new position. And few people I would like to mention, my mentor, Vicente, adopted father, who brought me in the management of sport. I was an athlete and coach. He convinced me that I could do something else. Don Rapska, my master, and my big brother. Bruce is my psychiatrist, psychologist, and role model. Incredible what I learned. And of course, to all of you delegates, all the countries I work for and help. It was a pleasure to work for you. It was a pleasure to assist you, all the organizers. And last but not least, to my staff, my patient staff in the center, and to my colleagues in World Archery for allowing me to bother you, for being patient, and smile with my stupid jokes sometimes. So thank you very much to everybody. It has been a pleasure, and looking forward for the next step.
Thank you very much, Juan Carlos, again, for your long-serving activity in FITA and then in the World Archery. And I wish you all the best, good luck in your new job. I believe that you will do your best in future. Thank you very much.
And like he said, we will continue working together, because archery being a mandatory sport of the World University Games, we will for sure have contact with Juan Carlos as the sports director of FISU. We will see how that cooperation will go. We will have some interesting discussions for sure, as in the past. So now we come to the finances. But I think we first had the finances of the foundation, no? No? At the end, okay. Then we'll change the order, don't worry. So I'll ask Rolf to join me for the Finance and Audit Board report. I think you've received it well in advance. I don't know if you have any specific questions for Rolf, but maybe Rolf can give a few words.
Thank you, Tom. I think Tom will go over the accounts later, but what I would use a few words to explain is what we're doing. First of all, the accounts are audited by PricewaterhouseCoopers as an external auditor, and I'm happy to say that I have never heard any negative comments about our accounts, not for the 2020 and 2019 or previous. So that's a good thing. Our committee is working a little different. We are not doing auditing as an external auditor do. We look primarily at the accounts comparing with the budget for the year to see if there's a major difference that needs some explanation or other. And the other thing we do is to look at the budget for the coming normal 4 years. We should do that last year, but because of the proposal of Olympics, we couldn't make any 4 years budget, and we haven't made it yet. And that's because we don't know what the revenue from the Olympic will be. And before we have that figure, it will give it no meaning starting up a 4-year budget period. The report we have given this year is not the same as usual because we are not comparing it with the budget for the year, but comparing it with the year before, 20 against 19. So it's possible to see the impact the COVID have had on our accounts and all the efforts the administration have made to get the money to fit. So if you have any question, you are free to ask, but I think Tom will come into the accounts more a little later.
Thank you, Rolf, and I thank also Hilda and David who are working with Rolf as such, making sure that we do things as appropriate. So I'll take you through some of the accounts, and I'll try to do it in a way that is visual and more appealing than going through numbers. So you can see clearly here the challenge we've had in 2020. You see 2008, 2012, 2016, and then you could expect that 2020 would be very much in continuation of the previous Olympic years, and then, well, there were Olympics last year. So you see in terms of revenues, the revenues were quite down. The good thing was that some of the expenses were also down, but we have also a lot of fixed costs, and the fixed costs had to continue. So it is clear that the administrative expenses, which are mostly fixed costs, are very much the same as 2019. And this is, of course, challenging. The operating expenses, we had already 2 years before the pandemic hit, were lower, but we already had made certain, I would say, commitments that we had to respect as such. The same can be said in terms of TV production and distribution costs. And for instance, we were really on the right track in terms of TV revenues. They were going up in 2019 and passed for the first time the cost of the TV distribution. And we were really on the right track, but unfortunately we had to, of course, if you don't have events, you can't show images. So the costs and also the revenues drastically went down, and we made an agreement with all the TV broadcasters that we were not going to ask them the amounts they were supposed to pay us in 2020, and that has allowed us to continue their deals in 2021, except one who unfortunately had to reduce their commitment as such because of the pandemic as well. So if we look at the summary of the finances, so 2020, no Olympic revenue. In the revenues, 93% less of the initial budget. And in expenses, the fixed admin expenses, only 21% less of the initial budget. Luckily, in the operating expenses, 83% less of the initial budget. So how did we handle this? First of all, we were lucky to be able, like Juan Carlos also sent for the center, to use a furlough system, which is called RHT in Switzerland. We also were able to get some temporary loans, delayed payments, and mortgage on assets. So this helped us to get, from a cash point of view, through this difficult period. We also did some drastic cost reductions. We had nearly only online meetings, so the number of travel expenses went drastically down. You could say this was good for our CO2 impact, but it is clear also that it's very good to see for the first time people here, because online meetings work for certain things, but not for everything. And then the other thing is that the center, and I thank Juan Carlos and his staff for making that possible as well, is that in 2020, we normally had decided that we would pay at the end of the year the contribution of World Archery. In the end, World Archery did not contribute to the center operations in 2020. Now, that is possible for 1 year, but we can't do that on the long term because then the center will not survive. So, the impact on finances for 2021. We continue cost reductions. We have reduced costs at all of the events this year from the original budget. Olympics, as you know, we had our executive board was not in Tokyo. We only had a few of the vice presidents there. Of course, our Japanese member, Mr. Hata, being in very close to Tokyo, attended. But also in the Paralympics, we even had fewer people there. In the World Championships, for instance, here in the Congress, normally we would have had more staff here. We reduced the staff present here. And we also reduced costs by doing things differently for our events over this year. We also tried to find new revenues. For instance, as our president said, it's very clearly in our meeting yesterday, we cut out my office and his office from our office. So we don't have an office anymore at our office. I actually do have a desk, but my original office is no longer there, and nor is the one of our president, nor the meeting room that some of you might have known from the past. So we have 1/3 of our office that has been rented out, and it's a sports management school that is taking it over. So we have it rented since July this year, which allows us to recuperate the cost of the rest of the office for the year, which is a good way forward. And with COVID, we didn't really need the space either. So we have given you on time and as foreseen the audited reports for 2019 and 2020. If there are any specific questions for either year, I will address them now. If I can't address them, then I'll answer later on. But if anybody has a question on 2019 or 2020, it is the moment to ask them. Any question? As Rolf said, they were audited by Pricewaterhouse and there was no specific remarks. The Finance and Audit Board also checked it from a budget point of view. So doesn't seem to be the case, so we will go then to the vote on the approval of the 29 and 2020 audited accounts. Since there were no questions, I think we can do it in a block. So let's open the vote for the 2019 and 2020 audited accounts. So vote is open. Any issue? Switzerland? Have not been using it sometimes, so maybe they switched off some of them. There's also Ivory Coast, Virgin Islands. It's okay? Anyone else? Sorry, Matteo, I can't see the numbers. Okay, how we are doing? Anyone has an issue? 95, so 3 missing. Okay, everyone had the right to vote. We can close the votes. And you approved the votes unanimously. 188 votes in favor. Thank you very much. And I also would like to take this occasion to thank Caroline for all the hard work she's doing on the finances, because it's not an easy job doing this for World Archery. Thank you, Caroline. Okay, normally every Congress I come and I have a nice chart showing you the financial plan for 2021 to 2028. And unfortunately, I cannot do that. I put in my report that I would present it to you during Congress on the assumption that I would have the figures to do so as such. So together with Rolf and the Finance Audit Board, we discussed it. And rather than giving you figures that are purely based on my crystal ball, we said we need to present figures that make sense. So today, we do not have enough detail on Olympic revenue, nor on how and when we have to reimburse the IOC loan to give you really concrete information. We also have a request to the cantonal government in terms of a subsidy request to compensate the loss on the income in 2020. And they had told us mid-September to have an answer. Well, we are now getting closer to the end of September. We're still waiting for the answer. So there again, we can't give real data. The other thing is that we have already indicated to Credit Suisse, which is the bank that has the mortgage for the center, is that we want to rediscuss the way we are paying back the mortgage of the center. As you know, normally at the end of the year, we should be paying back 2.5 million Swiss franc for this period, and then another 3 million in 2024, and the remaining part in 2028. We will rediscuss it with them, and this will have a major impact on our financial plan. So, based on that, our proposal to Congress is that as soon as we have it finalized by the Finance and Audit Board and approved by the Executive Board, we will do an electronic postal vote by the member associations. So there is an official approval by the member associations. Of course, as a general principle, we will split the remaining revenues over the next 3 years, because we are already 1 year ahead of the normal program, and therefore we will split the amount of money over the 3 years. However, there is a change of how we do things. In the past, we would, at the end of the year, just take from the reserves what we needed. In the new way of looking at this is we will fix the amount per year we dedicate from the reserves per year, and we have to live with that. So it's a different approach, which would have allowed us to get more funding from the Swiss government when there was the issue with the pandemic. Nearly all other federations are doing it that way. You could say it's a little bit a technical matter, but it's important that we do it in the future that way, which is clearer and more transparent as such. So we will go in that direction for the new Olympic cycle. So can we have a vote, a raise of hands to vote if you agree with that principle, that we send you the financial program as soon as it's ready, and then have an electronic vote on that. All those in favor? Thank you. Anyone against? Oh, against? No? Okay. Abstention? One abstention. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Very quickly, in terms of the foundation finances, we are not approving the foundation finances in Congress, but we report the finances of the foundation to Congress. So here you can see that for what concerns 2019 and 2020, in terms of income and expenses on an operational point of view, in 2019 we were doing really well. We actually had some benefit, you can say, on the operating side. It is clear, as Juan Carlos also mentioned in his report, many of the commercial activities were removed in 2020, so we had a lot less income on the operational side. But the expenses, there is a lot of fixed expenses, so these continued to be there as such. Now, you will see that there is a big post on the non-operating expenses, that is mainly the depreciation of the building of the center, which is around 1 million a year. Now, this is something we will also discuss with when we renegotiate the mortgage, and also with the auditors of the foundation, to see if there is not a more appropriate way of doing this, because if we go like this, we will have depreciated the center completely in a few years from now, and that is not the purpose either. So it looks like we lost a lot in 19 and 20, but most of that is linked to the depreciation of the building as such. But 2020 was, of course, a difficult year, knowing as well that the $500,000 that World Archery normally gives, sorry, $500,000 Swiss franc that World Archery gives a year to the center was not given in 2020, which is already explaining a big difference in the operating income as such. Any questions on the foundation finances? No? Okay, then we can go on. Okay, membership fee. I suppose that no one wants to increase the membership fee. I think that most of you will agree with the proposal of our board to keep the membership fee as they are. If anybody wants to propose an increase, we are ready to accept it, but okay, so can I have a raise of hands to confirm that we keep the membership fee as it is? Thank you. Any abstention? No. Anyone against? No. Okay. Then the other thing is we need to confirm PricewaterhouseCoopers as auditors firm for 2021-2022. We had a discussion in our Finance and Audit Board, and also with with Caroline, head of finance, about the auditor's firm. We felt that since we went through a process of tender for the period 1920, we would like to keep it one more term without another tender, 21-22, but that for the period 23-24, for sure we will go again to a tender process to make sure that we do it appropriately. It's part of good governance that from time to time we need to make sure that the auditors are, I would say, put into competition, and that we are doing the right thing. Knowing that within the system of PricewaterhouseCoopers and any other auditor, the people doing the audit change on a regular basis, so it's not that we always have the same people. And the procedures, I must say, change every year. We have a lot of new things that they look into, and they're even using nowadays artificial intelligence algorithms to decide which documents we have to produce to them. So it's every year more and more, I would say, analytical and appropriate to make sure that everything is done appropriately and there can be no misuse of funds by anyone in World Archery. So can we have a vote by the raise of hands on our auditors for the next 2 years? All those in favor? Thank you. Anyone against? No? Any abstention? Thank you very much. Okay, next one. We've had no request to discuss any particular interpretation that was produced by the committees over the last 2 years. Those are the ones that were published by the deadline as such. We have published, I think, an interpretation yesterday, for instance. Those interpretations are not yet up for approval today. That will be in the 2023 Congress. So can we have a confirmation by a raise of hands that all interpretations that have been accepted, not by the Executive Board, but have been proposed by the committees since last Congress, are okay for all of you, so they can be integrated in the rule book? All those in favor? Okay. Anyone against? No. Abstentions? No. Thank you very much. And thanks to all the committees for their hard work on those interpretations. It's not always easy, and it's becoming more and more challenging to have all the committees agree with them, because everyone has their point of view, and we have to be clear on what the role of each committee is. And It's not because the committee might not like a certain thing that they can give their, I would say, view on it. It is something that together with CNR committee, we make sure that our constitution is followed. And I thank again all the committees for their great cooperation on this. And sometimes some interpretations take longer than we want, but that's how it is. Now for the bylaws, we have to do the same process. So we have had several bylaws since the last Congress. Again, a raise of hands if you all agree that we can consider them as final, the bylaws since the last Congress. So all those in favor? Thank you. Anyone against? No. And abstentions? No. Thank you very much. Okay. So I now ask the committee chairs to join me here. Don't worry, we'll not ask them all to present, but we ask them all to join me here because that will facilitate if there are any particular questions on the specific committees. So the first one that we will ask for is the Board of Justice and Ethics. Is there any particular question on their report? Is there anything that Marty would like to add to his report? He's still on his way. No? So for Marty, everything's fine. Any question? No? And then I thank Marty and his committee for the excellent work done. So, we will tomorrow nominate the Board of Justice and Ethics Committee. Constitution and Rules Committee report. Mark, anything you want to add?
No, thank you.
Any questions for Constitution and Rules Committee? No? Okay, this is going to be very quick. Then the next one, Field and 3D Committee. Hannah. Okay, no questions for Field and 3D Committee? They're working all very well, it seems to be the case. Judges Committee, I'm sure Sergio has something to say.
Thank you, Tom. Good morning. I just want to thank the Executive Board for considering first and accepting all of our bylaw proposals in these last 2 years. Thank you very much. And I'd like to announce that we're going to have an international candidate seminar next year. The first one in, I would say, in the last 2 years. So you're going to be hearing from Will Archery about this seminar, and we look forward to having candidates coming from more countries than the ones we have already. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sergio, and also thanks for making sure that our judges did a fantastic good job in the Olympics. Ah, there is a question. A question, yes? Microphone, please. There's a question, yes. Haha.
Yeah, you were asking for questions, so the thing is, I think it's very good that we are focusing on new judges, especially on younger judges, and maybe also to find more gender equity in the judges. I think that's also a really important point. Is this also connected to what the chairman of the committee just mentioned or not?
Yeah, we would like to encourage younger judges, younger candidates, not necessarily those who have been youth judges, but now they can go through the channel of being continental and then international candidates. The proposal we made as a committee was that somebody who is a youth judge is automatically at the same level as a continental judge, so they can attend Will Archery International Candidate Seminar and then become an international candidate more easily. Also regarding gender equity, we favor the participation of more women in our seminars. In fact, there are some continents in which the percentage of female continental judges is now close to 50%, which is very good. So we'd like to encourage also national federations to propose candidates, both genders, maybe keeping the same balance so that we have more women. Sometimes we have difficulty complying with the requisites of the International Olympic Committee regarding the number of women and men judges at the Olympics, and that is because at present we still are not at the level of having 50% of each gender in our international judges community. But we look forward to having more women, of course, yes.
Thank you.
No, and it's definitely something we are really pushing for from, I would say, both executive board and staff as well. So I also like to thank Severin, who is taking care of the judge committee during the year and making sure that all the case studies are properly answered and applications and so on. Thank you, Severin. Coaches committee, Coach Lee, you want to say something? No? Any questions for the coaches committee? I would like to thank them already for all the work they did on the study. We will discuss later on today. Technical committee, Don.
Okay. Gave me an opportunity to take this mask off for a little bit anyway. That's good. So yeah, if anybody has any questions concerning the technical committee or the report, I'll be around for the next 2 days and I'll be happy to answer any questions. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of you. It has been wonderful working for World Archery for the last 40 years. This is my 40th anniversary. My first Congress was in 1981 in Punta Ala, Italy. And I've made so many friends, my very best friends around the world, of course, archers. And of course, archers are the best people, so you know, makes sense. But thank all of you, and it's been wonderful working with all of you, and it's been great. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Don. And we know technical committee is not an easy committee because archers come with all those crazy ideas to change the way we look at rules. Target Archery Committee, Olivier, anything? No? Okay, any questions for Target Archery Committee? We will hear of them later on today for sure. Medical and Sports Sciences Committee, now the chair is not here, but I can try to answer, and if not, we have a doctor as president, so I might give the floor to our doctor. One of the things that we, for sure, is a topic that some of you have been in contact with us and that we will address with the medical committee and also the IOC medical committee is all the matters related to transgender and this is something that we need to address. There was some discussion on this also in terms of eligibility of one particular archer for Tokyo, and we want to make sure that our rules are fully in line with this for the future. Para-Archery Committee, Dominic, anything? No? Thank you. Any questions for Dominic? No. Athletes Committee, Naomi? No, and also we will probably come back to her with this afternoon when we talk about the motions and proposals. Okay. So, ad hoc, before we have the lunch break, there is the ad hoc committee summary. We've had our gender equity committee, and please take a seat.
Thank you.
The gender equity committee, which is now handled by Yuko Okura, which I take the occasion to thank Yuko for the fantastic work she and her team did in Tokyo, because yes, we were there to watch and see what was being done, but the work was done by Yuko and her team, so thank you again, Yuko. And Yuko, yes. And Yuko, together with our staff, has changed a little bit how we look at some of the awards for gender equity. And tomorrow when we will go through the awards, we will explain that. But I think it's an important differentiation. So it's not only the big countries with big funding that have a chance to get awards, but also the ones where a major difference was being made. But Yuko and myself will explain that tomorrow to you. The other ad hoc committees, classifiers committee, keeps on working very hard. and I have no specific report on that to mention. So, with that, Mr. President, I give back the floor to you, so you can announce the lunch break.
Thank you very much, Tom. It was really one of the important part of our agenda for informing our Congress delegates about many activities. Now everyone needs a break because lunchtime. We have a lunch break and let's start at 1:25 exactly, my friends. Enjoy your lunch. Thank you very much.